Hi, everybody. This is BS of the Week, episode 17, following up the Week 3 games in the Big Sky. I'm Patrick Driggett, coach of the Berlin Fire, and I'm joined by my friend.
Hi there, I'm Kevin Lucy of the Glasgow Rushmores, and we also have a special guest this week.
Hi, I'm Sam Andrews. I'm the head coach of the Darlington Sun Devils. Got it right this time.
All right, good. It's good you know your team's name, Sam. Glad to have you back. Sam stepped in last minute to come be a guest. We had somebody else lined up, and then that didn't work out, as it happens sometimes. But we really appreciate Sam coming last minute to come be a guest for us. And I'm not even going to grill him with questions this time. But Sam is going to
really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, Sam, because I shan't say who the guest was, but let's put it this way. He made a rather derogatory comment about some old man not being visually appealing. And you can draw your own conclusion as to whether that had anything to do with Sam's appearance this evening. But we are very grateful for stepping in, Sam, at the last minute, mate.
I didn't know there was drama in all of that. But no, I remember the comment from the thread. So, yeah, that's good. Well, now I'm going to have to ask questions. All right. Well, Sam, if you don't mind, we'd love to hear about your PFC game reviews of Week 3.
Okay, yeah. So there was some, I suppose, what you'd class as standard wins for a few people. Obviously, the Rivets got their weekly win. So I mean, they're just carrying on as they left off, really. You had the Seattle Generals absolutely destroyed the Bombers, 45-0, and I mean, absolutely blew them away, which was probably as expected. Obviously not meaning anything by it, but Bombers are quite a way behind the Generals as it stands at the moment. We also had wins for the Packers. So they got their win against the Warriors, 34-6. Another convincing win, which again is setting that up nicely. We also had wins for the Titans against the Devils. Again, another massive win. And another, probably what you would say is an expected win. You also have the going through the list. It was probably one of the tighter games of this week, and probably one of the games that maybe might have just missed out on game of the week. We'll see what that entails. But the Maroons beating the Rapiers 35-28. Another close-knit game, and obviously it worked out well for the Maroons. There was also probably the lowest scoring game, at least I've seen in my 2 years being in my second year, and the Bulldogs beating the Huskies. That was a very interesting, weird game, but it was obviously a very, very tight affair. And I don't think I've missed anyone out. The Surfers beating the Chargers. Again, another close-knit game that was low scoring, but the Surfers coming out on top. And I think that's all, unless I've missed anyone out. Apologies if I've missed anyone out.
All right, and Sam, can you let us know who your players of the week were?
Okay, so I've kind of gone. I know obviously normally we do a player of the week, but there was two. What I would say was outstanding players, one from the offense and one from the defense. Firstly, we'll go with the offense, and I've actually gone with Claudette, the wide receiver for the Mount Dora Massive. Apart from not getting the win, which was really unfortunate, he probably had the perfect game. He had 343 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, no fumbles. It was the perfect game for him. It really was a shame that he didn't help his team get the win. But yeah, I mean, I think that it was it was the other team that got the QB got the game of the week, the MVP for that game. I thought it would have been him, but I was quite surprised at that. But he had a massive game. And I suppose from the other side of it, from the defensive side of it, I went with the outside linebacker for the Generals, who did get the MVP in that game, Best. He managed to get 7 sacks in that game for a total, I suppose, 50-yard deficit in that game. And obviously, I mean, they managed to hold them to 0 as well. So yeah, I thought it was worth sort of looking at those two. I thought they were 2 sort of outstanding players, really.
Yeah, those are great picks. Thank you so much. All right, Kev, what do you have for LFC Week 3 games?
Yeah, okay. The LFC, just run through the list, basically. We had Phoenix against the Patriots. Phoenix 31, Patriots 14. This was a strange one, as much as the Patriots really surprised the Phoenix, I think, in the air. Basically, the game was just toddling along, 22 minutes gone, score 0-0, nothing much going on. And then we had Oakwell to Dewhist, a 80-yard play action pass for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, the New York Patriots are ahead. And then basically, on the 25th minute, we had Oakwell to Dewhist again, an 81-yard sideline pass for a touchdown, and all of a sudden the Patriots are 14-0 up against the Phoenix. That really, I think, came as a shock to the Phoenix. They then got their act together, started to basically play the game, and went for 31 unanswered points to actually seal the game out. But there, it just shows that the Patriots' aerial threat is one that you've got to take note of. Great play by the Phoenix, as usual. We sort of expect them to do well at the moment, and they are not disappointing. Next game on my list. Sorry about this one, Sam. The Sun Devils against the Hornets. Sun Devils 6, the Hornets 44. And I don't really want to rub this in, but quite bluntly, 28-0 in the first quarter. If I just mention the words Calgary Tripson, I think that just about sums up the game. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Sam, but if you're anything like me, you try desperately to try and, should we say, nullify the two of them, and it's bloody near impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I managed to. I worked so hard this week on trying to sort out my defense, thinking I'll change it up. I even spoke to a mentor to try and, work out the best formation, and they still managed to get through it, which probably says more about Tripson and Calgary than it does, and as well as about how maybe poor my defense is. But yeah, it was. I was gutted I didn't get anything. I was 28-0 down in the first quarter, but they're a difficult team, and he's one of the best.
It is indeed, and the bad news is that he's training up another flaming Tripson anyway, who he reports is going to be better than the first version. So heaven help us when that happens. So next game on my list, though, is the Knights against the Irish. And for some reason, my camera seems to keep moving. The Knights against the Irish. This is the game I think that Chris picked last week. The Knights 13, Irish 38. Have to be honest, I thought this would have been closer. I thought these two teams were sort of well matched. Basically, the Irish passed for 397 yards, which is basically it's quite a lot of aerial yardage. Let's put it that way. And I think one of the key things was that the Irish defence sacked Gudgeon, the Knights quarterback, on 6 separate occasions, and that basically meant that Gudgeon couldn't really get going. And so I think that was a major influence there on the overall scoreline, as it were. Next game on my list is 66ers against the Statesmen. 66ers, as we all know, have been doing fantastic well this season, and they've suffered, though, their first loss, and Lee has been struggling, and he suffered his first win, or gained his first win, rather. 9-16, quite a close game. And again, I would have to say this was probably a Statesman's defensive win rather than an offensive win. Believe it or not, the Statesmen shut down the 66ers down to only 68 yards passing and 19 yards rushing in the whole game. So if you're only moving the ball that far, you are not going to score very many points. So it wasn't a high scoring game, but I think that could be the way things are with the Statesmen. I think they're just going to shut teams down and grind out a result. So it's nice to have Lee winning. He's got a good chance of still getting into the playoffs, I believe. We'll see how the 66ers bounce back, whether that's just a one-off or not. Next game on my list, massive against the Weasels. 21-45 to the Weasels. Not sure I actually predicted this one. It was very, very close at half time. It was 24-21. And then in the second half, obviously the Weasels pulled away. This was a weird game in as much as the Massive lost the game, but they threw the ball 416 yards. So to lose a game and throw the ball 416 yards is unbelievable. And the reason that they lost was because the Weasels threw the ball 300 yards and rushed it for 250 yards. So this was hardly a game of defenses, we could say. It was a case of just shift the ball and move it on. So a very good win for the Weasels there. The Bucks against the Rhinos. Close game, this one. The Buccaneers are definitely on their comeback trail, as it were. Again, another aerial bombardment by both teams, 600 yards combined for both teams here. So watch out, anyone in our conference, because it looks as if there's quite a few teams going to the air. What I suggest that you do on this particular game is go to the play-by-play. Because it is a fascinating game. If you scroll all the way down to 58 minutes and 00 seconds, the score is 28-21 to the Bucks, and the Rhinos have the ball on the Bucks 10-yard line with 4 downs to go. And the score stays at 28-21 because they just cannot get the ball into the end zone despite having 4 attempts at it. And that really was how close the game was. It could have gone into overtime quite easily right at the very end. And the penultimate game on my list is the Shadows against the Sharks. 42-0 to the 42-0 to the Sharks rather. Benjamin Sharks just march on, and really this was quite a comfortable win. Again, well up at halftime, game over. A lot of rookies getting their chance to show themselves with a game over offense and game over defense. But again, Benjamin Sharks are looking really, really good this season for a long playoff run. So that's what happened in the LFC. There's obviously one game that I've missed out, which I shall come to in a little bit more detail, and that is the Rushmores at the Fire. So I'll talk about that one a bit later on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is the time. I think we can talk about this covetous game of the week that, I feel like it was totally unbiased. It was reached with unanimous consent. Anyway, spoilers, Kev. What do you think the game of the week was?
I think the game of the week could have been the Rushmores against the Berlin Fire. I don't know if anyone agrees with that.
I mean, the score at least allows this to be true, and I think it was a very exciting game for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me set the scene, if I may. I mean, obviously, the mighty Rushmores had to travel all the way to Berlin, and unlike JFK, the Rushmores coach isn't that keen on Berlin, So there is a bit of rivalry between the two teams. And the Rushmores not only had to play away, but they had to play on this weird artificial surface. Being a green conservation team like the Rushmores, we're not used to playing on anything other than grass. So we had it against us. We also had an injured middle linebacker before we went into the game. So obviously things were very much stacked against the Rushmore before we started. In fact, to such an extent that the predicted spread was 17 points. So when we went there, we weren't really that hopeful of coming away with a result. And obviously their head coach, with the name of Patrick, has got the luck of the Irish. Despite the fact that the Rushmores totally and utterly outplayed the Fire, they outpassed them by all of 3 yards. They outrushed them by all of 2 yards. There were exactly the same number of downs. And yet the jammy, lucky so-and-sos that call themselves the Fire managed to come away with a 1-point win. And then, as if to add insult to injury, the most valuable player, was a guy called Rasmussen.
Look, we're a global franchise, okay?
They managed to move the ball a massive 79 yards, but those that picked the MVP are so biased that they had to pick him because he's a named player. Now, we had Hansen basically training all week to cut Rasmussen down, and he did it fantastically. On the other side of the pitch, there was a certain player called Friesen, who ran the ball for in excess of 200 yards and didn't even get a look in. So as we sort of came back from the game there, the Rushmore's flight was not a happy one. There were lots of mutterings and mumblings about, well, I better not say it because otherwise I could get fined by the league. But, it wasn't a happy return trip. Having said that, we've heard from the fans, and they actually thought it was a very good, close game, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. I, for one, though, did not enjoy it at all, and I hope we don't meet again this season, Patrick.
This is revenge from playoffs 2 seasons ago, I think.
Oh, you've got a good memory.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but I do remember that game. So, I obviously it was a 1-point game. I wish I could say I was like some sort of super genius. I do think my game plan, here was the problem I had. A lot of teams, when I go in and I make my defensive plan against, right? Because I have my offense and I run the offense I want to run. On defense, I look at what people do, right? And for yours, you were a short zone passer and you're a run line. And I thought, I pass long. We have similar rushing strengths. So I said, well, I'm going to run the clock out a lot by running. You're going to run the clock out. So what I'm going to do is just hope that my long passes seal the deal for me. And so my thought was that on defense, what I was going to focus on is pretty much stack the short zone. Don't rush the passer very much because the short passes anyway. Play the short zone and just give you your run game. And I think it was enough.
We did outrun you, and we did outpass you.
Yeah, those are both true. But I think really though it's the one different though when you look at the score line though is the completion average on the passes, right? 21 yards versus 10. And I think that at the end of the day, that I think the mental math worked out. It was 1 point. It was close. I think easily could have gone either way. I think it was an awesome game. I just, I wanted to share a little bit about how I game planned it. For me, it was just, I felt like I could do as much as I can to slow down your short pass game. And 156 yards is not bad to hold you to there,
I think we were both pleased with our defenses, to be quite honest, because I shut Rasmussen down much more than I thought I would do.
Yeah.
And everything pretty much went to plan. The fact that it was 20 downs apiece, it was a toss of a coin game, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And it was
a fun game. And, obviously, I always love, luckily we don't play that often, but that was a fun one. And, I did think, back when we were starting BS of the week, we obviously, it was in those playoffs and we talked about it. So it was fun to be able to come back and kind of split our one-on-one record now.
Yeah.
So
we'll give you that one, Patrick. Well
okay,
played.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't know that I win any more games this season. So
Oh, I think you will.
really, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
What are you now? 3-0?
I'm 3-0, but I honestly can see us going 7-3. I mean, look at my strength of schedule. I have the Surfers, the Phoenix, the Statesmen, the Sun Devils. Could go either way, but it's it's at home. Okay, that's impossible. But then Shadows, Statesmen again, and then the Sharks to end my season.
The Shadows, no disrespect to Shadows, that's another one.
You think so? I don't know. I just don't.
Oh yeah,
5-5.
42-0 loss this week.
That's true. I think 5-5 is our best chance. Honestly, but
I think if you get 6-4, and you might be squeaking into the playoffs.
I'd just be shocked because I think that Lee will have the tiebreaker against me because I think he's going to win both, and I think the Phoenix are super strong, and I'm playing them at home, so it's an uphill battle for me. I think to make the playoffs. I'm certainly not counting. I would love to. I game plan every game to win them, but it's I don't know that
Trust
the
me,
numbers are with me.
Trust me, Patrick. My hill looks a hell of a lot steeper than your hill.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't want to say woe is me. I had a really good game this week against you this week, and it was a real fun one to watch. And I think we got a lot of comments, which is I love the interactivity of the Big Sky now, and so that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was good. It was really good. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I woke up, and because obviously, the banner was still there. I went to bed. I woke up, and I woke up early, and you had already commented, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I went through that game, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Like that was a really cool thing to wake up to in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I presume you, like me, you just go through the play-by-play as your first sort of port of call. Yeah. It's the only way to really watch it, isn't it?
Yeah. It was fun. I was definitely on pins and needles. I mean, you had no idea where it was going to go for sure.
No, it was really good, and good stuff.
Well, best of luck next time, sir.
And you, thank you, sir. I shall need it.
I think the only thing we have left, I had a coach of the week for us, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so let me just bring up my notes here. Yeah, so for coach of the week this week, there are a lot of really good games. They were exciting, but I think the one that I was the most impressed with was Scott Kramer, the Maroons.
Yeah.
Here's what was interesting about that game. You go into a game against Pogue, who is a great quarterback, right, of the Rapiers. Phil's done a really good job of building that team up. And Scott goes in there, 29 rushes with, three close to 4 yards of carry, so nothing to really laugh at. But then on 18 passes goes for crazy yardage, takes like 7 sacks. Like literally he got sacked every 5 plays. But just basically made it a shootout that and all kind of respect to Scott. He had 2 default stances, but he also had 3 other stances he introduced. I mean, he held Pogue to just enough to allow his offense to go through, and in a way that I don't think I expected anyway. Like I think he had a really good game plan. I think Phil did his best, and I think that Scott just he had something, he got it dialed in, and it was not what I expected. And when you look at the stat line, it looks kind of insane to see 7 sacks, and that percentage, and even the number of yards with the small number of passes. It was just, it worked. It worked. And wow, coach of the week, Scott Kramer. I really can't say anything else there.
Yeah, no, he certainly went for the boom or bust sort of effect. It was like it was either going down the field or it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it worked out.
Yeah, no, credit to him, mate. Credit to him. It was a good effort.
Yeah. So that's what we got this week. It was awesome. Sam had to leave us a little early there. But we really appreciated him being here. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you to the whole community for interacting. Thank you, Kev, for organizing and editing and doing all the things we do here for BS of the Week.
No problems. And I will try and improve my appearance for you, Lee.
Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have an awesome week, and we'll see you for the Week 4 games.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Take care.